crew, here goes your final tutorial for the semester. So let's do this final tutorial. We're back in InDesign where we did some typography work and we also did our decorative quotes. So we're back in InDesign, and the purpose of InDesign is to put a whole bunch of different elements together, and an element means anything. So we've got a big blue rectangle here. We have a picture, a picture, a picture, a picture, a picture. We have what is called a deck, which sits right on top of the headline. Then we have our headline, we have a story, we have a caption down here, we have another caption over here. So we're going to design this page, and it's called a double page spread, because if you look at this line going right down the center, it's actually 2 pages, so page 1 and page 2, and when you close a book or a magazine, they touch one another. That's what a double page spread means, is that you fold them together and they touch one another. So there we go. We're going to make a double page spread that looks just like this. So you need to have downloaded the 5 pictures that you need. They'll be in Google Classroom, or maybe I put them on the lesson plan, but they're there for you to access. So download those 5 pictures and then let's get started. So we go to our beginning and say new file or create new, whatever yours says. And we're going to go up here to print, because this would be for a print magazine or a yearbook. And we're going to select letter, which should already be highlighted. And then please don't forget to name. I know you guys do not like to name, but let's go up here and we're going to name it a DPS, which is a double page, 2-page spread or layout. So 2-page spread. And we're going to do something new this time, and we're going to use picas instead of inches or instead of anything else, points, pixels, etc. So we're going to use picas, and 6 picas equals an inch. And it turns out that 1 pica is just a really nice amount of space for the eye to take a little break. So there we go. We're going to put 3 pages because InDesign assumes you're going to make a cover for your book or whatever you're creating, but we don't need to worry about that in this one. And then we're going to click on facing pages here. We are going to use columns to help us measure things and guide things and get things all lined up nice and neatly. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to choose 3 columns here. So down here in columns, we want 3 columns, and we want a 1 pica gutter. So if yours says anything else, then you're going to highlight it and select 1 pica. So we want 1 pica gutters. Perfect. Then we're going to say create. And bingo, bango, boingo, there we go. We've got a double page spread and a cover. So this would be the cover of the magazine. And we would probably remove those columns so that we could just design a yearbook cover, a magazine cover, whatnot. But today what we care about is this inside double page spread. So 2-page spread. And we're going to make it look just like this one. All right, let's get started. Make sure that you have Essentials Classic. So up in the top right, we always use Essentials Classic. It should be set for that by now, and you should be good to go. So let's do that. And then let's look at the double page spread. So the first thing we do is we always place our dominant photo, and dominant means your largest. So this is our largest photo right here. And in InDesign, what you do is you're going to draw a frame. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a rectangle tool, and to the left of it, a rectangle frame tool. Super duper important, because that will help us to draw a frame that will put a picture in, and it will fit inside the picture, or inside the frame, sorry. So I'm going to start at the top corner, and I'm going to make a giant frame. I'm going to go right across the gutter, and again, the gutter is that line down the center where you would fold your book shut or your magazine closed there. So I'm making a giant frame, and I can adjust it a little, make it a little bigger, make it a little smaller, whatever I want. But that's the size that I want the picture to fit into eventually. And so we're ready to put the picture in, and you're going to push Command D. Again, that's Command D. And I've got my pictures on the desktop, so let me find the right one. There's Easton. Okay, so let's open it. And look how they're facing right now. They're facing off of the page. So they're looking off to the left. And so I'm going to do something totally illegal. I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit transform, and I'm going to flip it horizontally because I want them to look inside the page. Not totally ethical, but we are going to do it anyway. And then you'll notice that the picture went off. Let me see, where are we? Okay, so you'll see that the frame went off because it flipped the whole dang frame. So you need to click on the frame and shift it back over to your page. All right, so now I've got it on my page, and now they're looking into the page, and so that's better. Then I don't want to close the book and go away from it. I want to see what else is on the page. So you always place that dominant photo. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to place our headlines. So let's talk a little bit about all these lines all over the page. The top one is the margin. So we try not to put anything important. Kevin, your head is super important, but we are probably going to be okay. It won't be a problem. It won't be cut off. It'll go all the way to the edge of this paper. But like, we wouldn't put somebody's eyes there or their face there. So we want to be careful that we're not putting something there just in case the printer is off slightly. And I'm always saying that, but I really mean it. The printer might be off slightly. And then the pink line is called a live area. So that's the space where you want to make sure you keep your words inside of there so that you don't ever lose words. If we lost just the tiniest bit of Kevin's hair up top because the printer was off, or the tiniest bit of Easton's sweatshirt on the side here, it would be okay. We would be fine. So that's not a huge deal, but our words, we don't ever want to lose our words. So I'm going to grab my text tool. So on the left-hand side, the second thing you place is the headline. We're going to do a deck first. A deck is just like a lead in. It gets you excited to read the rest of the headline. Our book this year, we're going to do lots of students on the go, students working in different things or doing different things or engaged in different activities. So I'm going to put a text box there, and I'm going to type in students on the go. And I'm going to highlight that, and let's make it like, I don't know what, 24 points. Sure, 24 is good. And let's make it impact, so it's bold there, so that impact font. And then, so I'm right across the top here. 24 is the size, impact is the font. And then go over to tall, and you know I like to stretch things tall, so 150%. But I'm also going to stretch it wide. So I'm going to go right over to this wide and stretch 150%. And you can see my words are just slightly out of the pink line. I don't love that. So I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to just use my arrow key, or you can drag it. I like to use my arrow key on my keyboard and put it just beneath the line. So students on the go. That's a tad big for me. So I'm going to highlight it again and maybe go down to like 18 points. There we go. I like that better because it looks smaller and I want the headline to be bigger. So next we're going to do the headline. And I think the words were graphic design, or no, graphic focus. Okay. So we're going to type in graphic focus. And remember, with typography, we want to try and contrast fonts. So since this one is a bold and basic font, I'm going to highlight graphic focus, and I'm going to make that one more of a decorative font. So I'm going to use Luminari for this one. Luminari, and let's make it like 72, 60. Let's try 60. Oh, too big. So 60, and then I'm going to go down, 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 down. There you go. All right. So now it fits right in that space. Notice that I do not have the words overlapping on the right side. Uh-oh, too big. Okay. Let me make it a little smaller. 53 is the magic number. Okay. 53. But also notice right here, I have this column that runs vertically, and that column is 1 pica wide. So that's what a pica looks like. That's the amount of space. And you'll see why it's important later. All right. So I've got my headline. Next, I'm going to place other dominant elements. So a dominant element would be a big thing that is noticeable. So here we've got this blue down here. So I'm going to go over here to our design, and now I just want a rectangle, not a frame. I'm just going to draw a big old honking rectangle here, and I'm going to draw it all the way across and bleed it off the page, which means that it goes all the way down off the page. I'm going to go to color and just pick a color randomly. Ooh, I don't even like that one. Okay, I want it brighter. Oh no, these all bite. What is that? Let's see. I need a vibrant color. Oh my gosh, they're horrid. Not a fan. All right, we're going with Red Hawk Red, I guess, if I can find it. Okay, I cannot find it. These all are not good. Okay, I'm just gonna cheat. There we go. That's a little. Oh, just kidding. Holy cow. What the heckadilly. All right, there. I'm going to go with that one. Sorry, I played with it. Sorry. So just pick a color that you want for your box. It's fine. And now we're going to do something that is called matching up. And it's going to get another element on the page to match that blue there. So that kind of ties the page together when you see the color in another spot. So for this one, we're going to go super basic. And we're going to click on this color. So I grabbed my eyedropper out of the toolbar right here, the eyedropper. And I clicked on the blue, and you can see that a blue swatch came up. And now I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to click inside a word here. And it's going to turn the word blue. All right, because it's kind of a lighter font, it's not totally awesome. So I am going to add a black stroke. So I select the stroke, that's the inside, there's the stroke. And I'm going to come over and pick black from my color line. So down in the bottom right hand corner there, you've got the black. I'm going to choose black, and then I'm going to go to stroke, and I want it to be like 0.5. I don't want it to be huge. So just a pretty thin line, and when I let go of it, there you go. So there's the color. I'm going to scoot that up just a little. All right, now it's time to place the story. So if we're just looking at the page, I'm not ready to write my story yet. I don't want to. So I'm just going to put in a holder, a placeholder, so that when I come back to it and I'm ready to write it, I know what my page looks like, and it looks pretty cool. So I'm going to grab my text tool again, and I'm going to come in, and let me zoom in here a little bit. And I'm going to draw a text box across both columns. So see me draw across both columns. And I'm going to bring it, let's see, I need a caption for that picture. So I'm going to bring it up a little bit here, leave room for a caption. And I'm not ready to write my story yet. So I'm going to right click, and you'll see fill with placeholder text. That means fill it with fake text for right now. So I'm going to fill it with fake text. It's Latin that comes in there. And Latin is fine, and it's all good, but I don't want the story to run across two columns because it just looks like a whole bunch of words. It just looks like too much. So I want a little break. I'm going to grab the side of my text box and move it in to this left-hand side of the column. And you'll notice the red, which means there's still more text. It's hidden. So I'm going to click on the red and come back up to the top where I started the other text box, and I'm going to click, and it is going to run the rest of the text there for me. So now when I read my page, let me show you what it looks like when it's printed. You've got this little break in here, and it gives your eye a little break. So you create two columns there. I need my name there because I wrote this awesome story. So I'm going to delete a couple of lines. And then I'm going to, so I'm down here in my story, and I'm going to put a dash, and I'm going to put R. Schwartfeger because I wrote this story and it's fabulous. And I'm going to highlight R. Schwartfeger and come up to the top and right align it so that it's off to the right hand side. So there we go, right hand side. All right, so next let's take a look. Let's just now keep working our way down. And here I see we've got a caption, and caption describes a picture. So this caption matches up with this picture, the dominant picture. So let's go back over, and I'm going to create another text box down here, leaving some space. I'm going to create another text box, and this time I'm just going to copy and paste, and you can use filler text, but this one I actually wrote a caption for because I felt like it. So I'm going to copy that and go back over to our sample here. There we go, that we're creating. And I'm going to paste it in there. So it's a little confusing because you've got this text from a story and the text from a caption. So what we usually do in yearbooks is we will make the caption smaller. So maybe 10-point type. I'm up here on the top bar here, 10-point type, and then the story might be in 12-point type. So now they look a little bit different. I'm going to drag this quote down so that I've got it nice and lined up with the bottom of the picture. If you don't have rulers, go to View and say Show Rulers, and then you can grab from the top ruler here and just click and drag down, and I can put a guide, what is called a guide, across there. So see that blue line there? That helps me to line up the text with the bottom of the picture. And if I want that blue guide gone, I'll just click on it and delete it. All right, so now here's what it'll look like when it's printed. Now we're looking pretty good. We've got a picture, we've got a deck, which is the top of a headline. We've got a headline, we've got a story, and we've got a caption. And then we've also got some nice white space here. So we didn't bleed everything off the page. Bleed means the color or the picture runs off the page. We didn't bleed everything off the page, and it's nice. It looks good. All right, so now we're down to just the last bits and pieces, and this is just going to be about placing some frames. I know there's a big gap here. I probably would make it a little tighter for a real spread, but I just went with the default for today. But when you fold a page, this gutter here is called a gutter. You don't want to lose somebody in the picture. So for example, this gutter runs through Brody, but it's right after his eye. So when we open up the magazine or the yearbook, we'll still be able to see his eye. It won't be stuck in the gutter on the line. So you just want to make sure like you don't put an eyeball on one side and an eyeball on another side, and then it cuts that person's face in half. So you do have to be a little careful, but here we're good. And down here, we're just going to leave a whole bunch of space. So what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we have are, this is a 2-column picture because it goes across 2 columns. 1 column, 2 columns. This is a 2-column picture, it goes across 2 columns. 1 column picture, 1 column picture, and then we have a 1-column caption. All right, so let's go back over and let's do this sucker here. All right, so I'm just going to draw my frames. I grabbed my frame tool again from the left-hand side, and I want to leave a little space in the blue box, and I'm going to draw, and I'm not going to go down past the margin here on the bottom. So I'm going to draw a frame there, and then I'm going to place a picture. So Command D will place a picture, and I think that was Yanni and Jocelyn. Let me find them. Yanni and Jocelyn. So this is going to be a little different here. When this one comes in, this picture is not exactly how I want it. So you can right click on the picture and go to Fitting and say fill the frame proportionally. So it filled it with the whole picture. And I got this little peeper here who's trying to get in on the picture. So maybe I want to make this bigger so I can see Jocelyn and Yanni really well. So I'm going to grab my selection tool and click on the picture. And the frame is what holds the photo, but the yellow on the outside, that's the actual picture. So I'm going to enlarge the picture. So see how that yellow is outside here? That's the picture. This is the frame. So this allows us to see just the pieces that were in the frame, and I'm going to make them larger. So now there we go. They fit in the frame nicely. I'm going to make the frame just a tad smaller so it's not over the margin line. And then I'm going to draw another frame, and let's get this other picture in here. So again, a 2-column picture, and then Command D. And then we'll go find the right picture and say open. And we're going to right click and go to Fitting, fill the frame proportionally. And bam, that one's pretty good. I'm not going to mess with that one. And then I'm going to draw 2 more. So I still have my frame selected. I'm going to draw a 1-column picture here and push Command D. And I'm going to go grab, and I remember, maybe it was this one, Sammy maybe. Okay. And right click and Fitting and fill the frame proportionally right at the top. bam, we've got them in there. They don't fit so great. I'm going to make this one just a little deeper there. So I'm going to make the frame a little bigger. And then I'm going to click in the center and I'm going to move the picture down a little bit. So I'm moving the picture with my arrow key right now so we can see them a little better. There we go. So that looks nice. Okay. And then I'm going to draw another frame. Bam. Nice. And Command D. And let's get our final picture. Where's Eli? Where are you, Eli? There we go. Okay. Let's get these guys in here. And again, it doesn't fit right now because the actual picture, if I click on the picture, you can see that the picture is humongous. I can't even see the edges of it. Let me see if I zoom out. There we go. See the gold? Those are the edges of the picture. So I'm going to right click and say fit proportionally and see what I get. And it's not enough of them. I want Eli really highlighted here. So I'm going to grab onto the end of the picture, this gold bar. I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to make him bigger. And then I'm going to grab and I'm going to make him bigger still because I want him to take up a whole lot. There we go. We've got Lila, Megan, and Eli in there. They look good. And now I've used the frame really well. I'm filling the frame much better. So the picture is actually this big. You can see the gold. That's how big the picture is. But the frame shows you only part of the picture. I could decide to just show that. Oops. Let me see. I could decide to just show you that much of the picture, but that would be goofy, right? Nobody wants to look at my office. So let's put Eli back in the frame. Beautiful. All right, we're so close to being done, crew. Stay with me. All right. So now we're going to draw a caption. And often in the yearbook, we will, I'm going to grab my text box and draw a 1-column caption. Okay. So I'm drawing a text box. And oftentimes, if we don't have space, what we'll do is we'll just name all of these people. So here I put a full caption that says, always on task, sophomore Easton Wise is the brainchild behind the best designs created by the star team of Wise and fellow sophomores Brody Shipley, Hayden Pelham, and Kevin Ball. Easton is the genius behind the whole operation. We couldn't do it without him, said camera shy Pelham. All right, so that one is a full caption. This one is called idents, which means we're just going to identify people. So I'm going to sneak over here where I already did all my idents, and I'm going to copy them and go back over. When you do this, you can just put filler text in there. I'm going to paste it. Remember, if you were to use filler text, you would right click and go to placeholder text. So it holds the place there. So placeholder text. All right, so I just copied this across, but I've got a problem. I can't see all of the names. See this red plus sign right there? That tells me that there's more text, and it cut off Abby right here. So I'm going to make my text box a little bigger, and bam, there we go. Now I have Abby's last name and graduation year, and I have Samantha's name in there. So now everything is complete and looks good. So then they're numbered, so it corresponds with picture 1, picture 2, picture 3, picture 4, and that's it because we only have 4 pictures. So it goes from left to right, and then it goes down clockwise around. So there we go. So that's the pattern. So I have the names there. All right. So there you go. You just finished a double page spread and it looks great. If you grab your selection tool and you push W, you can get rid of all of the columns and guides and just see what it looks like printed. And it looks nice and clean, but not clean enough. All right. So one last thing, which is super important. We want to make sure everything is a pica apart. So see how this text is up closer to the edge of the blue than the picture? We're going to make everything perfect. And the best way to do this is grab your rectangle tool and just click. Don't draw, just click. And make a 1 pica by 1 pica box. So that's a 1 pica square. And I'm going to color it in black so that I can see it really well. And then I'm going to grab my selection tool and I'm going to start moving around the floor. So, or the page, sorry, not the floor. It's weird. So weird. Okay. So I'm going to put the box there And I see that it's a little more than a pica, so I'm going to make my blue box come up there. And now that's a perfect pica space. I'm going to move this blue box just down underneath the blue. And then I'm going to make my frame bigger and move my frame up just underneath the box. So now that's a perfect pica. I'm going to move the box over here. And I'm going to put on the edge of the blue. And then I'm going to make sure that this text box is right on that black frame. I'm going to use my arrow keys. It's sometimes easier on my keyboard. So arrow keys to put it right there. And now that is exactly a pica spot. And where else should we check? We should check over here because we have another 2-column picture here. So I'm going to put this on the edge of the box and then make the picture frame match. Beautiful. And over here. And I'm going to match this frame as well. And, oh, not quite. Beautiful, beautiful. There we go. Okay. Oh, okay. Not awesome. And then I'm going to move this pica down between these two pictures. And I can see it definitely doesn't have a pica space. So I'm going to bring this picture down a little bit, make that frame a tad smaller. Now it's a perfect pica. Does anyone know why I'm not worried about the column here or the spacing this way? I'm not worried about the spacing because it is a pica. It's a column that I set up to be a pica. So it's exactly a pica. So all of these spaces in between your columns are perfect. So I don't have to measure in between this picture and the text because it's perfect. But I do have to measure right here. So the story is not exactly perfect. So I'm going to make it one extra line there. And it takes a little bit from the left side. So the story's a tad smaller on the left side. But that's okay. No worries. And so then I might move my pica box around and I might check in between here, my headline and my story. And I might check in between my deck and my story. And then once I'm happy with all of that, then I'm just going to delete that box. And don't forget to delete the box. So now we've checked it all. And we're going to push W again to get rid of the lines. And perfect. So now everything is matched up. I know that the spacing is just right and it looks great and you are finished. So then you make sure you go up to File and Save or Save As. But if you named it, it should be good. So you're going to name it as DPS. Make sure you save it to your desktop, not some rando folder. And then you are good to go. You can put that on your InDesign page. Well done you, well done me, yay. That's it. Have a great day.